Well, hello, IDS 105 students, and welcome to week 3, module 3 in your IDS 105 classroom. I am Melanie Shop. I am your IDS 105 Learning Community Facilitator, just here to give you a little bit of extra support as you navigate week 3. As always, your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is important to us. It is our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are aspects of instruction or course design that present barriers to accessibility, please notify the Online Accessibility Center, the OAC, as soon as possible at 866-305-9430. You can also email them at oac@snhu.edu or visit the Online Accessibility Center website. As a reminder, the Online Accessibility Center team is here to help you get content in a way that works best for you and your learning style or preferences. If you have questions about this or want to see if this is something that'll work for you, please reach out to the OAC team. A couple of webinar reminders. This is an academic space, so always be mindful of your conduct in these webinars, in the first year experience YouTube pages, in SNHU Connect, and in your classroom spaces. Also, another reminder about my webinars, they are not graded. They're not required, but hopefully you are learning how to do the assignments from week to week and helping you understand the concepts that we are working on in your course as you navigate from module to module. Most of these webinars are on demand or pre-recorded, and you find them every Monday morning bright and early on the First Year Experience YouTube page for IDS 105. We do have another live session coming up later in the term, so please make sure to be checking your course announcements and checking your university emails, as information will come about that here pretty soon. So week 3, module 3. Oh, y'all, you have made it through the very first 2 weeks of your course. So a couple of things. You might be feeling pretty good, like you're getting in the groove of things. Some of you might be like, oh, I'm still trying to figure this out and navigate things and kind of find a balance. And no matter where you are, even if you're somewhere in between there, it's okay. Take a big old deep breath and just remember that you are 100% worth this journey. Take things day by day. Make sure you're reading those course announcements, y'all. I cannot emphasize this enough. Your faculty spend time putting content in there that'll help you understand the concepts from week to week. They'll give you some helpful reminders, tips, tricks. Sometimes there's videos in there for you to watch just to help you be successful. So make sure you're reading those course announcements. Don't forget to check your university email. Some faculty email things out too that are important for your classroom space, and that's how the university gets a hold of you. So if any other department's trying to work with you or get your attention, they'll be emailing your SNHU email address. So don't forget to be checking those course announcements and your university email. Also, please, if you have questions, you're stuck, you're not sure on something, please make sure to check within your course in your Brightspace class. When you log in, you're going to see who your instructor is. You can click on My Instructor. There's an announcement about them too that'll have their contact information. Reach out to them, whether they email, they call, they text, whatever it is. Reach out to your faculty ASAP if you have questions or you're stuck on something. Don't hesitate. We would rather you know how to successfully do something or answer a question versus you not reaching out and either not doing well on an assignment or struggling on an assignment. So please remember to reach out to your faculty. We want you to be successful in our courses. So as we navigate into this third week of your IDS 105 class, you have 2 assignments due. You will have another project draft assignment this week, and then you'll have a discussion assignment. So a couple reminders. As you guys realized, I'm sure last week in module 2, for your project draft, there is a template that you will utilize all term long. You will open it up and type right in it each week that you have a project draft that is due. This document is a Microsoft Word document, so you want to make sure that you have something compatible so that you can utilize that template or that your instructor is able to grade it, okay? If you don't have that, remember you get Office 365 for free as an SNHU student. With the project drafts too, video note assignments are not permitted for submission. So remember, it has to be a written document that you are turning in. Make sure too that you pay attention to which questions you are answering for the project draft. You don't want to forget something or not do something or do more work than you have to at this point. Your project draft, of course, is due on Sunday, but you can always work ahead on that. Earlier in the week is convenient for your schedule. With your discussion assignment, that initial discussion post is due on Thursday. With those peer responses, which is you responding to at least 2 of your classmates, are due by Sunday. But as always, you can always work ahead on those items as it works for your schedule. So remember, discussion, initial post due Thursday. peer responses, project drafts by Sunday or earlier in the week as it works for you. This week, in week 3, we are going to be centering in on the concept and the terminology of cultural fluency. A lot of students, for some of you, you might be like, I don't even know what that means. I don't have a lot of experience with other cultures, or I don't know a lot about other cultures. Others of you may be very well versed in cultures, which is super exciting. And so this is going to be a week in your class where you might be pushed outside your comfort zone. Some of you might be kind of in a teaching moment and be able to teach others about your own culture or other cultures that you are well versed in, but it's going to be a learning experience for everybody. So just remember to kind of keep an open mind, learn some new perspectives, and remember, we don't grow unless we get uncomfortable, right? So a couple of things that I want to focus in on just to kind of break down the terminology of cultural fluency is that when someone is said to have cultural fluency, what that means is it means that they can effectively navigate different communication styles across cultures. Basically, they understand a variety of cultures in a variety of ways. So the characteristics of someone who is culturally fluent, so if you are somebody that is said to be culturally fluent, you have a really good understanding of a lot of different cultures, their customs, their beliefs, their values, their attitudes, and their behaviors. So some people live in very diverse areas, and so they are around different cultures every day. Other people, you may not encounter any other culture in your everyday life. And some of you might have a little bit of a mix of that. And that is okay. The biggest thing to understand as you think about cultural fluency is it's really understanding different cultures in those 5 areas of their customs, the cultural beliefs, the values, the attitudes, and the typical behaviors of that culture. This is going to come into play as you focus in on your discussion assignment for the week. So the 2 questions that we have this week for the discussion board are, 1, what are some ways that your knowledge of cultural fluency can benefit your self-awareness? Now, if you are somebody that you're like, I don't know, I'm not culturally fluent, that's okay. Share that in the discussion board, but share like how maybe if you were, it could benefit your self-awareness. Okay. Sometimes students get stuck on that question, especially if they are not very culturally fluent. Just remember, answer the question, be yourself, use examples as necessary. I've even had students that have drawn upon maybe different movies or books that they've read too or watched just to kind of be able to answer the question in a way that helped them understand the concept. So if you get stuck on this, make sure you reach out with your instructor. But remember, be yourself, use examples, and just think about like, how would it benefit me to be more self-aware if I was culturally fluent? Okay. Question 2. In what kinds of situations could you use your knowledge of cultural fluency and self-awareness? So for example, different cultures have different concepts of time and time management. How could cultural fluency and self-awareness help you navigate situations where you and your friend or colleague or instructor view time or time management differently? So to break this question down, you want to think about, for example, let's say that in your workplace, you have different cultures or you have people that handle time different, just in general. How could it help you to have that knowledge of cultural fluency and self-awareness to navigate differences when it comes to time? Okay. So don't overthink it. Just take a deep breath, look at the question, think about it, and answer it. Remember, always be respectful because you have a lot of different personalities and backgrounds in your classrooms. And always, if you get stuck or have questions, let your instructor know. The second assignment that y'all have is you will be submitting your second project draft. So I wanted to remind you that you picked a scenario in week 2. It was either school, personal, or workplace. Whatever scenario you picked, you are going to be using that same scenario to answer this week's questions. And remember, when you are answering the questions, there is a bigger overview of your scenario underneath that scenario profiles part within the module. So make sure you're clicking on that and reviewing it, and I'll show you here in a minute where to find that again. But for this week, like I said, you are utilizing the same scenario you picked back in week 2. So you're going to keep that scenario in mind, and then you're going to think about any personal, professional, or academic experiences maybe you've had to help you answer the questions. And what I like to tell students is, remember, you're writing like a guidebook. So you want to answer these questions using as many examples and details as you can, so that if somebody else was struggling in the area of like an academic situation, they could pick up your guidebook and it will help them overcome some of the challenges maybe they might face. So kind of like a little training guide. So for this week, I wanted to point out, I did highlight these in 2 different colors, because if you open up the template and look at part 2, you are going to notice that there are a couple of different sets of questions. And you'll notice at the end of question 1 and 2, it says complete this section in module 3. So those are the only questions you're answering for module 3. The other questions that are within that section, you will notice they say complete this section in module 4. So pay attention to what you're answering. I highlighted them just so you could see the difference between them, but when you open up your template, they're not highlighted. The other thing I wanted to remind you is you can type right in the template. As you'll notice, you have question 1 this week. Describe how you would demonstrate cultural fluency in the scenario. Again, use examples, use details. It helps drive your point home, but it also helps connect the information for whoever's reading it. Remember, just type right in it. This is not academic support approved, right? I obviously have major spelling errors, but I wanted to show you can just type right in the template. You want to make sure too, when you are working with your questions, that you write in complete sentences and give the details and give the information. So you have question 1 and then you have question 2. Describe how cultural fluency benefits your self-awareness. Again, thinking about the scenario in mind, thinking about professional or personal or academic experiences you have had. You can even make up things. You want to tie the concept into your scenario as you're working to answer the question. Okay, so that is your second assignment for the week. So again, discussion assignment, and then you have your second project draft that is due. The other thing I wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about is that often as students, especially adding school to an already busy schedule, it can be so easy for us to get stuck or maybe overwhelmed or not be sure about something. And I want to remind you that you have so much assistance here at the university. So I don't know about you, but does anybody struggle with asking for help? You know, we don't want to bother anybody. We don't want to take anybody's time. We don't want to appear less than smart, right? However, when we have questions or we're stuck on something and we don't reach out for help, it can lead us to being anxious or overwhelmed or even to give up. And that is not what we want to do. So I want to encourage you to always ask for assistance and push that easy button, because you have so much support here at SNHU and so many resources to utilize for your success. So as a reminder, you know, you can access the university resources right from your My SNHU when you log in. You can access them right from Brightspace. At the very top of your Brightspace classroom, you know, you have academic support, you have the library, there's that help icon, arrow down, and it pulls up all of the different online student services that are here at the university. But also remember that every department has a phone number attached to them. You can always call them. There's an email address. A lot of faculty members might text message. Just check your My Instructor information and see how they best communicate. And you have webinars. You have these learning community webinars to watch, but there's a lot of other departments, like the career team does webinars, SNHU Financial Literacy does webinars, the academic support team does webinars. There's just a lot of support at your fingertips, and I know it can seem overwhelming, but start small. Like if you have a question or you're stuck, like send that email, make that phone call. If you're struggling in your classroom space, like reach out to your instructor. Like don't wait. Like you are worth having that answer at your fingertips. So I always like to tell students there's some situations you might find yourself, maybe not this term, and maybe in future terms. And I just want you to remember, like first and foremost, like if you find yourself, you know, looking ahead in the term and you have questions about like the final project, or you have questions about later in the term, like don't wait. Or you know that maybe your work schedule might change, or something's going on in your life later in the term and you want to, like, you might have to work ahead, or you might have to figure out something with your instructor. Ask now, ask early, don't wait. Make those plans for your success so that you know what's expected of you from week to week. This is a big one. Ask when you don't understand. You know, a lot of times there could be either an assignment instructions we don't understand. Maybe we got a grade back from an instructor and we're not really sure what their feedback meant or what we're supposed to do with it. Always ask when you don't understand, okay? Reach out, clarify those answers, clarify the questions that you have, and make sure that you know what is expected of you and when to do and what you need to do, or any resources you might need to connect with. I always like to remind students too to always reach out and push that easy button and ask for assistance when there's a situation. This could be as simple as you got sick or people that you take care of at home maybe were ill. I have had students break fingers, break arms, car accidents, be hospitalized, baby came early, baby came late. We might lose a loved one through this journey. We could have computers that break. We could have the internet go out. I mean, there could be a snowstorm or a hurricane and like we don't have power, we don't have internet. So things happen. So I will promise you, you're not going to be the first or the last person that any situation has happened to. Reach out to your instructor and your advisor, let them know what's going on, because when we are aware of what is happening, it allows us to make a plan for your success, either to get caught up or to stay on track. It is so important to reach out and don't wait. You cannot come at the end of the term and say this, and this happened. That's why I didn't get any of my work turned in. Because they're going to be like, okay, see you next term. You're going to have to redo it, right? So if something happens, work with it as it comes up, okay? I also always like to encourage students too is to reach out and ask when you're frustrated. I don't know who's ever put together like a piece of furniture, like IKEA furniture is the worst, or like a child's toy, like that, those toys that are out there, whatever it might be, some new kitchen gadget. The instructions can be super frustrating, or the lack of instructions can be super frustrating. Sometimes it's a technology thing we might be stuck on. Sometimes it's just something we don't understand and it's frustrating us. Reach out, take a minute, take a deep breath, reach out to the resources that can help you navigate and get the questions that you need so that you feel supported and are able to continue your studies. Because the biggest thing to remember, and I love this quote by Liz Lamore, is sometimes asking for help is the bravest move you can make. Like, you do not have to go it alone. You are not alone here at the university. Like, so many of you guys have support outside the classroom with, loved ones, but you have a lot of support here at the university too. There's so many resources that are just a click away. So remember that we want you to reach out. We want you to connect with us because it's all going to equal your success and earning your degree, which is why you're here. We want you to accomplish the goal of earning your degree. So that is all I have for the major content for week 3. I did want to take a minute though, and just go into our classroom space here really quickly. This is actually my classroom space that I'm going to click through, but just as a reminder, like, you can see who your instructor is and their email address right off the bat. If you go into course menu and click on announcements, you can look for the My Instructor announcement. It'll tell you who your faculty member is and how to get a hold of them. I wanted to couple of other things show you as a reminder. The library you can access right here. My SNHU is right here. Academic support. When you click on academic support, there is a giant menu of services that they have, from 24/7 drop-in tutoring to workshops. They also have the written feedback tool. If you are struggling with your writing, maybe it needs more details, maybe it needs to be more organized, maybe you need to work on your writing mechanics, do not sleep on using this service, okay? This is where you can write up your assignment. You can click on the try it now, answer the questions, upload your assignment, and you will get targeted feedback within 12 hours, okay? So it's really important. This is a great way to help your confidence in your writing and just make sure that you're on track with what the assignment is asking for and what it's looking for. I like to tell students, these are some wonderful services to utilize for the academic support team. There's all kinds of things in here for you and your success. The other thing I wanted to remind you all of is this help arrow. Click down. You can always get a hold of the IT service desk. There's some really helpful tutorial videos for you to navigate your new e-spaces, but also that online student services page has direct links to everybody. Advising, there's academic support again, the bookstore. The My SNHU orientation is a great virtual tool of everything SNHU to help you just feel really comfortable and confident. Financial services, again, the library, Brightspace, like learning how to navigate Brightspace. Here's that Office 365 and other software. How you can get those for free. Follow the blue, click it, gets you to where you want to go. Also, you can get into SNHU Connect to help tie you to clubs, organizations, and other students here at the university. They're outside your classroom. Plus, you have the career team, the Online Accessibility Center, and there's all kinds of tutorials on InfoBase. I also want to point out our SNHU Wellness Team. This is an awesome resource for students. A lot of students really like to utilize it because it talks a lot about managing your time. It talks a lot about managing stress, just things to think about from a mental health perspective too. So don't forget, there's so many resources at your fingertips. I know it's a lot. So just start with what you might need. As a reminder here for week 3, you want to click on learning modules. And when you do that, you want to go to Module 3. That is the week that we are in here for IDS 105. As always, click on the Module 3 introduction. Sometimes students miss this part. It kind of gives you an overview and objective of the module. Always scroll down and then click over. And when you do that, y'all, there is content and reading to be done within your actual module. So make sure that you are reviewing this in addition to those required resources that are listed in here too. Okay, so I know it can be heavy reading, so kind of break it up. Do chunks of it at a time. Remember, you have your required resources page that tells you what textbook chapters you are going to be reviewing. Plus, there's a lot of helpful, maybe some different articles or videos for you to watch that can be really helpful for your success and just connecting the dots, and it'll help you answer those questions for your assignments. As a reminder, you have that discussion assignment this week, and then you have that third project draft. So when you go into your project draft, as a reminder, there's always an overview. Plus, you have the directions on the assignment. You're just answering those 2 questions this week, so make sure you pay attention to that. If you misplaced your template, you can't find it, remember to click right here on Project Template. It'll open up that document. Remember, mine is color-coded. Yours will not look like that. But when you open up the template, as always, you're going to see, make sure you list your scenario. Part 1 you answered last week, right, in Module 2. And if you scroll through, you're going to see Part 2. Complete this in Module 3, complete this in Module 3. The second part of it is Module 4, and the last one is Module 5. So I just wanted to highlight that and show that to you. And just remember, you can type right in the document, which is so important. Save it, and you can use the same document from week to week as you're working on completing those assignments. If you can't remember your whole scenario, or you want kind of just a reminder, a refresh of the details of your scenario, remember to click on Scenario Profiles, and it opens up this document. And you will see in this document the scenario. You'll see this kind of extended version of it. Remember, we're not worrying about the conflicts right now. Those are going to come into play in week 5. You want to focus in on the actual scenario and take that plus any personal, professional, academic experience that you might have to help you build this guidebook as you're answering the questions. As you're answering your questions this week, again, use your scenario, use your experiences. You can make up details, you can make up, stories to help drive your point home. But the biggest thing is you want the details and the examples so that if somebody else were to pick this up and they were struggling with a school situation, this would give them some insight into how they could overcome those obstacles. Okay, so y'all, that is it for week 3. Just remember, discussion assignment, that initial post is due on Thursday. Peer response is due by Sunday or before. Minimum of 2 classmate responses. Write more than a couple of sentences, y'all. A couple of sentences is not going to cut it. Make sure that you're really diving in and giving those classmate responses the work that they deserve and the feedback that they deserve. And then your project draft, the second one, you want to upload that by Sunday, answering those questions for Module 3. You can always do it earlier as convenient for you. Have a wonderful week 3. Y'all, next week, we're going to be at the halfway point of the term, which is super exciting. As always, if you have questions, reach out to your instructor, use your SNHU resources, and remember, you got this. Have a wonderful week 3.